Republicans are reinforcing their slim majority in the House after winning a special election in Tennessee. Matt Van Epps beat Democrat Afton Bain, but Democrats gained some ground in the deep red district. Now both parties are reading the tea leaves ahead of next year's midterms. ABC's Alex Presha is here for more. Alex, how significant is this win for Republicans?
Well, this is a big kind of early sign as to how next year's midterms might go. And what's interesting about this, I mean, we've been talking about, Diane, how both Democrats and Republicans have been racing to redistrict, basically trying to stack the deck for control of the House come next year's midterms. So the margins here are incredibly slim. Every seat in that 435-seat House matters at this point. But the other thing that's interesting here is we know historically the president's party is usually punished during midterms. And so with that in mind, we see Republicans really trying to shore up some of their strongholds here. And this was a district that Trump won by some 22 points last election cycle. And so to have a Democratic challenger come in here and who coming into the election was within single digit striking distance from potentially flipping this district, this was a really important race for Republicans. The other thing that I would say is last month we had two really prominent gubernatorial races in Virginia and in New Jersey, and both of those you had the Democratic challenger who won. I think that was the first kind of early tell as to how midterm elections might go. But here you have a congressional race in a staunchly Republican district that Republicans are ultimately able to hold on to, and certainly that's got to be a good feeling for the GOP this morning.
So what are Democrats taking away from this loss?
Yeah, well, so for Democrats, I think you look at it as, look, this was a district that was a reach to begin with. Again, I mentioned that Trump won this by some 22 points back in the last presidential race. It's also Tennessee, which is a solidly red state. You had the president who was campaigning on behalf of Matt Van Epps, trying to get voters out. Also, this was what you consider an off-cycle election, so you know voter turnout is ultimately going to be low. And so, certainly, it wasn't the result that they were hoping for. Certainly, the lead that Matt Van Epps ended up winning by was more than what polls indicated going into Election Day. But still, the takeaway is that here's a district that Democrats feel that they were competitive in, and maybe that's momentum they can build on. We've certainly heard this notion of issues along affordability that have really kind of resonated in that part of the country and elsewhere. Again, that's what those gubernatorial candidates won on in Virginia and in New Jersey. It's what New York City Mayor-elect Mamdani won on in New York. And so they're really going to try to use that going forward.
All right, Alex Presha, thank you.